Hey there, Stampers. This is Sherry Roth. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Alberta, Canada, and I am popping in today to share with you a flip through of a stack of layouts that I've recently created, and my thoughts on Stampin' Up's recent virtual album retreat that they did. So this is the first few layouts, the first 12 layouts that I share are from that retreat. That retreat is the first of its kind that Stampin' Up! Has offered, and it emulate kind of, I guess, at a virtual event that close to my heart used to hold when they were in business. I did not participate in the Close to My Heart one, so I can't compare the two, but I wanted to share what I did with the pages that they shared with us last week. So it was a 3-day event. Um, and then I also wanted to kind of share my thoughts on the whole event and share why I will do every one of these. So I wasn't sure what to expect when I registered for the event. It is a higher ticket price event. So it is here in Canada, it was $340, which sounds like a lot. And I thought it was a lot initially too. But when you break it down and you think about it, um, it actually is a fabulous deal, and you take away so much from this event. So let me just kind of get my layouts in camera here. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Let me check my screen here. Um, so you get, all you have to do is purchase the month by month album kit, which that's what the $340 is. And you get access to a private Facebook group. And the way it was run is it was almost like 12 mini classes. And the classes were about 2 hours, maybe a little bit more. On some of them, a little bit less on others. And each day, so it ran over the course of 3 days. Each day we did 4 layouts. All of the supplies come pre-cut and organized. Like I think I used my paper trimmer maybe 3 times. There were a couple things that I needed to score, and then I did make a few changes. So some of the things I needed to cut up, but for the most part, you hardly need to cut anything. Another thing is there's no die cutting because what they do is they gave you a big sheet, a 12 by 12 sheet of white die cut pieces, and the stamps fit right into those pieces. So you could stamp right on there. So it saved a ton of time. Um, each class, each day was taught by a different instructor, and they shared tips and tricks. And even though some of the techniques were duplicated in on different layouts, because the layout was taught by a different instructor, you learn new tips and tricks. They had a panel of people who were um, answering questions in the Facebook group as the instructor was teaching, and everybody was kind of sharing their tips on how they did things. Like it was so informative. It was incredible. So not only do you get the 12 pre-cut kits and instruction to create 12 two-page spreads, and many of them are interactive. You also get the page protectors. They also walk you through cutting the page protectors. So if there's interactive elements like this, they walk you through how to cut your page protector so that you don't have to take the page out to access those interactive elements. You get two exclusive stamp sets. So the only way that you can get these stamp sets is by purchasing the kit. And these are stamp sets that I will use over and over as a scrapbooker. This alphabet set, I love it because it's uppercase, lowercase, and numbers. And then this kind of covers all the seasons. You've got the seasons here, excuse me, but then you've also got some great images that can be used over and over and over as well. All right. Um, let's see here. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through kind of my layouts, and I'll share a photo of kind of what the layout was meant to be. So first of all, they gave you this die cut piece. So all the titles are, it's basically all 12 months were meant to be the titles. That's why it's called the month to month um, album retreat kit. Okay. Now I chose to not document photos month by month. I chose to just document photos that I hadn't yet scrapbooked. So my titles I changed out, and I will save those month to month ones for a different project. So I might do month to month next year, or I might use it for my book journal, keep track of the books that I read next year, or I might use it for something else. I'm not sure how I'm going to use it yet, but I'll save it because I love them. They're nice, kind of thicker. It's not quite a chipboard, but it's like it's heavier than cardstock. It's a really nice quality um, title. All right, so here, now I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this, but this is the two-page spread. So January, they kind of had like a it has kind of a wintry feel, but I chose to use photos with flowers. But I stuck with the layout pretty closely. Some of the photo configuration changes because this one I decided to do as a square rather than as a rectangle. I've got an extra photo in here. My journaling is in this little pocket. And then, yeah, everything else was pretty much kept the same, but isn't it cute? I love it. And I love this album. You could use it for so many different things. If you've got tons of travel photos to document, you could do that. You could, if you've got a new baby or a new grandbaby, you could do a month by month album, scrapbooking photos of your new grandchild or your new child. You could do it to document the year. So if you don't do a lot of scrapbooking, or if you are um, just new to scrapbooking, this is a great introduction because you could basically pick your favorite photos from each month and document those photos. You could go back and do it for this year, or you can set it up to do it for next year. All right, so here, now February was a love theme. So this is it here. There were lots of hearts on it. I chose to take out the hearts and I replaced them with the flowers. So you get the flower here. So I used some extra white cardstock and stamped the flowers, added some ink blending to color them in, and then fussy cut them. So I did that. This was to celebrate a friend's birthday, but the rest of the layout I kept pretty much similar. I just changed out the hearts. And then next up for March. Okay, this one I kind of reversed, and I did that because I added my title after I finished the layout. I went back to it and I realized that my pages were on opposite sides. It's meant to go like this, not that it really matters. You can't really tell. Um, but let's see here. Just want to make sure it is all in camera. Okay, so this is March here. So I've got my title. These are photos from a recent trip to Venice that we did. And this, we learned about bullet journaling. So a different kind of journaling on a scrapbook layout where you've got the journaling down here and you've got your photos numbered. So number one tells the story of this photo. Number two tells the story of this photo. So another great way to do that. I did add extra journaling up here, so I added a little tag with some little twine in there. So all of these pieces in the background, these were all pre-cut. So I didn't need to pre-cut them. The other thing is many of these layouts, I love the layout so much that I will replicate them using different product and use them for some different photos. And because you use different product, the pages will look completely different. Okay, so this one is April. Now, there are three of the 12 two-page spreads that I did not have photos for. So this is one of them. I chose to not add a title because I did not have photos. Now on this one, they use clouds as their accents. I again decided to go with flowers instead of clouds. Actually, they use flowers as well. I just chose to not add the clouds because I'm not sure what photos I'm going to put on here. So I just left it with the flowers. I can always go back and add extra embellishments when I choose my photos. All right. So, and many of these layouts also had like flip flaps and interactive elements. Most of my pages, I printed just enough photos for the photo mats that we were using, or just a few, maybe a few less. So I did not add the flip flaps. I think I might have added flip flaps to one of the layouts. Okay, and then this is one of my favorite ones that we created. I love this emboss resist paper that we got in the kit. So it's just like a half a sheet, maybe not quite even half a sheet, but the rays, every other ray is embossed. So we did some ink blending in the technique or in the background. It's hard to tell on camera. Let me bring it up a little closer. Maybe you can see. So we did a little bit of ink blending, so some pumpkin pie here, and then darling duckling around the edges. So there's that yellow, the yellow rays coming out from behind the photos. So let me share the photo of this layout. So this is it here. So this one, the configuration is very similar. I did not have an extra 3x4 photos to put underneath there, so I just did the one 4x6. And then there is some twine that's kind of wrapped around there, which I thought was an interesting technique. So they took twine and kind of crisscrossed it around here, but I hadn't done my journaling when I put the layout together, so I decided to eliminate that. And the other thing I changed, because I have so much green in my photos, I switched out the Misty Moonlight strips of blue for some garden green. But I still kept the Misty Moonlight as my mats for my photos. And actually, this is, like I said, this is one of my favorite layouts that we created. I just love it. I did add in a little bit of ribbon and some twine. So you know, if you follow me, you know that I love adding twine to my projects. So I often do that. But there was twine included, a full spool of white twine included in the kit. So we got to use that in a few different ways. All right, so that is March, or sorry, May. And then this is June. Now this one still needs a little bit more um, because these are photos of my daughter, her husband, and their two puppies on Father's Day. So I kind of did celebrate dad because it was the month of June. So I could use the June title on here and it would fit. It's appropriate, but I want to save all 12 of those titles for a different project. So maybe I will die cut June from some black cardstock and add that on there. And I did add some lines down here for some journaling. So this is what it looks like here. There's a few things that I changed up here. So these are kind of like little pockets or faux pockets. I eliminated one here. This one actually is meant to go over here. I moved it here. There was a different pocket in this spot. Um, and then there's a little bit of journaling kind of underneath each photo, but I don't think the photos need extra journaling. So this again would be great if you were kind of doing a June in review or a month in review, so you could do some journaling for each one of the photos. But I figure I'm going to have my daughter do some journaling here just because these are photos that she sent me for the day. So it's not really my story to tell, it's hers to tell, which I encourage you guys to do if you like to scrapbook and maybe other family members don't scrapbook. You can definitely document those photos and have them tell the story. All right, and then here we've got the month of July. So we're using one of these little images. These kind of look like fireworks, but I love that it wasn't red, white, and blue. Um, so I could just do some more puppy. There's lots of puppy photos that I've documented. So I did do some changes. Well, the basic layout is the same. I loved this part of the title. Let me show you for July here. So that's stamped right on the background, which is really fun. I loved this little accent in here. And then I switched out, I had some extra clouds that I didn't use on another layout. So instead of the little circle bit, I did clouds and added happy days. And both of those stamps are from one of the exclusive stamp sets. But I love how the black and white with just pops of color. I love how this layout came together. All right, and then this is another one of my favorite layouts. This was fun because I learned a new way to journal that I hadn't done before. Okay, so here, this is another piece of that Ray paper. So we got a larger piece and we did that ink blending, that emboss resist technique. I love all the circles along the bottom, many of them that we've stamped, some were pre-patterned that we just had to pop out of a die cut sheet. I changed up my photos. They were two 3x4 photos. I wanted to do 4x4. My title is obviously different. I've got a little tag in here indicating who the people are in this photo. And then here, so we've got our journaling, and instead of numbering the photos, we've got the journaling is numbered, and then there's some baker's twine that leads across to the photo. So so this tells the story of this photo. Two, you've got the little bit of baker's twine, tells the story of this photo. 3 tells the story of this photo. So that was something new that I hadn't tried that before. So I learned that. So you will learn a ton in these types of events. Oh, the other thing that I did was this is a piece of Darling Duckling that was stamped, and it was just stamped tone on tone. But I took my black Stampin' Right marker and added a little dot in each center, and I felt like that kind of brought in just a little bit of extra black from the black mats, which they had yellow mats. I switched it out to black and then the black dots here. So I felt like that was just an extra addition to the layout. Okay, and then this one, this is another one that I did not have photos for, but this was incredible. This was so fun to make. Sarah actually taught this class, and it's super interactive. So let me share here. So this is for the month of September. This is what it looks like. And she even shared, like, this has a lot of dimension to it. If you look, it's thick. It's probably a quarter of an inch thick. Um, but she showed how you can add that to your page protector and still be able to access it, slit your page protector. Like, seriously, they thought of everything for this. So this opens up like this. And so this is meant to go on here, but because I don't have my photos yet, I want to wait because I'll probably stamp something on there. And then there's a photo in here. So I'm just going to tuck that in there. A photo here. There was meant to be a photo here, but I liked it just plain, so I kept it like that. Journaling in here. So these just pull out. There's 3 little journaling tags. Another photo here. We've got some more journaling that can be added here. So super interactive. Isn't that fun? I think I'm going to definitely do that again. I really enjoyed doing that. And it looks complicated, but wasn't complicated at all. And then this is meant for my title. It's meant to go across here, but because I don't know what my title is going to be, I don't know if it'll be this long. I might need to trim it down. I just kept it like this, and I'll save it until I decide what photos I want to use. But I loved the little grid background. So this was just a 10 by 10 piece of white and then some squares. We just added those squares. This is definitely a layout I will recreate. I love grid pattern layouts. Okay, and then this was another fun one. So if you feel like you've missed out on this event, you can still purchase the month by month virtual album kit. I did put a link in the description to where you can purchase it if you live here in Canada. And the kits will be available while supplies last. And when you purchase the kit, you'll receive an email with an invitation to join the Facebook group. And that's where you can find all of the videos. Each one of the layouts has a separate video. So you can work at it at your own pace and you can go back, you can pause it. Even during the live event, you could pause it and then catch up. Um, so I really loved that about the event as well. Okay, so here, I love the circles on this. I love that there were a couple little pockets. You could even turn all 4 of them into pockets. I've got just some little 3 by 3 photos kind of tucked into these pockets. These were some photos taken when my son and I went on a wine tasting tour of an old wine cellar in Montepulciano when we were in Italy in May. So I wanted to document that story. So that is the layout here. I did make some changes on what I stamped and where I stamped them, but that's what's so great. I mean, Stampin' Up! Gives you the ideas for these layouts, and then you can tweak them to make them more your style or make them more you so that they worked for you to tell your stories. I have a little bit of journaling here, and then I've got some more journaling down here. All right. And then we've got, what month are we on? I think we're on November. So here is November. So this one was a fun one because we learned a little bit about hidden journaling. So this one is actually a tag, but I added a photo to it. I think a photo was added to it, but you could turn that into some hidden journaling with just a little pocket. This is another hidden journaling tag. I didn't have a ton of journaling to tell. I knew that I would have this extra spot because I was short one photo. So I knew I would have this extra spot. So I did my journaling on here. And I just stamped this tag. There's no real journaling on there, but maybe I'll have my daughter add some journaling to that. And then there was another hidden tag down here, but I eliminated that one because I didn't need that extra spot. But this is another piece of emboss resist paper. This one has some little leaves on it. So we did some ink blending, we did some stamping on there, learned this fun new way of using twine, which was super cool. Look at that, look at the ends of that. That was fun. That was something I had never tried before, and I love, love, love techniques with twine. And again, my embellishment clusters are just a little bit different, but I loved the little strips, all the different layers, some torn, some straight, some pattern, and all different patterns. So there's that. And then December was the last layout that I don't have completed. Well, it's the layout is completed. It just needs a title and some photos, but it's ready for documenting some Christmas photos. So again, I really liked this. I love how this kind of looks like little buttons. Um, a bigger title will go along here. This is another little, it's actually a double layer pocket. So there's a pocket in the front and a pocket in the back. Um, so you could tuck into some journaling, you could add extra photos in there. So there's enough space here that you can add extra photos down here if you wanted to. So super, super fun. So that is the virtual, just a little recap of the virtual album retreat. And I did some notes here. I just want to make sure I shared everything that I wanted to share. Okay, so if you want to participate and you have not yet purchased the kit, if you purchase the kit, like I said, you'll receive an invitation to the private Facebook group, and those videos will continue to be available. So it's not like you need to do it right now. You can wait. Once within the next month, they will have them converted so that they're accessible on YouTube as well to anybody who's registered. Um, yeah, so I think I pretty much covered everything. So I loved that they broke it down into 12 kind of mini classes. So I took away so much. I've been scrapbooking for years. I love to scrapbook. Um, and I scrapbook a lot. But I learned a ton. Like it was such a great event. It will be an event that whenever Stampin' Up! Offers them, and I I believe their plan is yearly, but maybe wouldn't it be nice to have twice a year? Like I would love that. I accomplished so much. So anyways, so that is the virtual album retreat. And then we're going to move on to some layouts that I created using the Make a Memory scrapbooking kit. So this is a scrapbooking kit that is available in the online exclusive section of the Stampin' Up! Website. And basically, you get a box that includes these. It just gives you some ideas on what to do with the kit, but it's really self-guided. You can do whatever you want with it. These ideas are very basic, so I wanted to share what I created using the kit. And I do have a tutorial for all of these layouts. There are a few of them that have videos that I've shared on my blog, and then the rest are available in a tutorial, which I will go back and link in the description. So this, I believe the price point of this is, don't quote me on it. I think it's about $49 here in Canada plus shipping and tax, but you can get a ton out of it. You get a bunch of 12 by 12 pattern paper, you get some 4 by 6 cards, you get you get a two sticker sheets, some die cut sheets. You get a ton of stuff. You can really create a lot with it. So this was one of the layouts that I created. There's a video for this page. And then this was an additional page. So I included some flip flaps. So this I used for I did a lot of travel layouts with this collection, but with the virtual album kit, I think a lot of those layouts could be used for travel as well. So if you have lots of travel photos to document, I would consider either one or both of these. So here, I think the only thing I added in was just some, what color is this? Secret C cardstock for the rest of my title. And I had a fair bit of journaling to do, so I put it in 3 spots. If you don't have the space to tell a big story, then split it up. There's no reason why you can't have it in different areas. It doesn't have to all be in one spot. The other thing I could have done is this paper works really well for journaling, so I could have done it down to this entire strip, but I kind of like it like this. And this also gave me the opportunity to include an extra photo. All right, so that is layout number 1. And then here is another one. So, and again, I did use another flip flap here because I had my story to tell, and an extra photo. So this is actually, it's a 2-page spread, but it's from 2 different stops on a tour that I did in Scotland with a couple other demonstrators a few years ago. So this is one stop, and then this is another stop. So I kind of have 2 separate areas for journaling again, because it's almost like 2 different stories. I just wanted the pages to be side by side, and I wanted them to match. All right. So that is layout number 2. And then here is layout number 3. So this one I kept in my page protector. Hopefully the glare isn't too bad. Lots of flip-flops on this one. So here you can see I've slit my page protector so that you can access the additional photos and the, let me slide this over, and the journaling from outside of the page protector. And here is kind of like a little waterfall using flip-flops. I love flip-flops. It just allows me to include more photos, a little bit more journaling. Um, and then this is a brochure, and I included the ticket. Now the brochure, you'd have to pull out the page. I could slit around here, but I'm thinking I don't think very many people are actually going to open the brochure. I think the photos and the story are more important, but I could slit around the page protector if I wanted to be able to open the brochure without sliding it out of the page. All right, but this is all using contents from the kit. Okay, so that is layout number 3. And then here we've got layout number 4. Now I don't have photos for this particular one. This is another grid style layout. And here I just shared how you can layer strips and use extra little scrap pieces to accent maybe your focal point photos. And so we've got journaling and then some photos here. This was pretty straightforward. And I believe I have photos of this one on my blog as well. And then included in the kit, you get all these fabulous frames. So here I included a lot of the frames. So I've got a frame with journaling here, and then these 2 are meant for photos, and this one is meant for a photo. And I popped them up using dimensionals, but I left the backing on the top dimensionals so that I could slide my photos in. Right. And then this was a single page layout. I think all the rest of them are single pages. So here I did add in a piece of basic beige cardstock. And so that another travel themed. And here you do get 4x6 cards with there. I do have a video for this, so I will link to the video as well. Um, you get lots of 4x6 cards in this kit. So this I'm showing you, if you don't do pocket pages, you can still use 4x6 cards. They're great for kind of high or putting more emphasis on a photo. So here I've backed it with 3 different 4x6 photos, just showing a little bit like different amounts of each one of them, but it really makes the photo stand off of the page. And then here is another one using all of the leftover tags that I had. This is for 2x3 photos. And then the final one is this one here, Enjoy the Now, for 2 3x4 photos. And this could be photos of anything. Just because there's a bike on the layout doesn't mean it has to be biking photos. You can really use it for anything. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed that flip through, and I just feel so great having used kits that were prepared for me and creating all of these layouts. Probably that this was probably all within, well, 12 of them were just in the last 4 days, but the rest were probably all within a month, and that is a lot of layouts completed. So can't wait to add these to my albums. So if you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. You can comment on this video or even just reach out to me. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have, and I will link to the supplies in the description. All right. So thanks so much for watching. Take care.